Hello all, my name is Professor Hina Panjwani from Ahmedabad Institute of Technology. Welcome to Analysis and Design of Algorithms tutorial. In this tutorial, we are going to understand what is algorithm and its property. So let's start. So what is an algorithm? So algorithm is defined as a collection of unambiguous instructions occurring in some specific sequence, and such an algorithm should produce output for given set of input in finite amount of time. So कहने का मीनिंग ये है कि आपका जो प्रोसेस होगा सेट ऑफ रूल्स टू बी फॉलो टू अचीव डिज़ायर आउटपुट स्पेशली बाय अ कंप्यूटर. मतलब आप कुछ इनपुट दोगे और वो कुछ आउटपुट जनरेट करेगा. ठीक है. सो is a step by step procedure to solve different kinds of problem. So first of all you need to understand the problem. So after understanding the problem statement, we have to create an algorithm carefully for the given problem. So algorithm then converted into some programming language, and then it given to the machine, and then machine execute this algorithm, which actually submitted in the form of source program. So during the process of execution, it requires certain set of inputs. So with the help of algorithm and input set, the result is produced as an output. If the given input is invalid, so it should raise appropriate error message, otherwise correct result will be produced as an output. Fine. So unambiguous sequence, that means your unambiguous means clear. Your sequence, your steps should be clear. Fine. So algorithm is any well-defined computational procedure that takes some value, some input, and for that input or for that some value, it should produce some output. Fine. So algorithm is a set of steps to complete a task. So for example, we can take one task like to make a cup of tea. So how to write an algorithm? First we need water, milk. Fine. और आपको जो भी चाहिए, sugar and all. Fine. So how to write an algorithm for to make a cup of tea? Add water and milk to the kettle. Second step is boil it and add tea leaves. Third step is add sugar and then serve it in cup. So ये मैंने अपने हिसाब से बताया. लाइक आपको अपने हिसाब से जो जो चीज़ें नीड हो प्रॉब्लम के अकॉर्डिंग. ठीक है. सो अकॉर्डिंग टू प्रॉब्लम यू हैव टू डिसाइड कि कैसे एल्गोरिदम लिखना है, क्या क्या स्टेप हो सकते हैं. सो स्टेप बाय स्टेप इंस्ट्रक्शन. फाइन. सो व्हाट इज़ कंप्यूटर एल्गोरिदम? अ सेट ऑफ स्टेप्स टू अकम्प्लिश और कंप्लीट अ टास्क that is described precisely enough that a computer can run it. मतलब कि मशीन के लिए डिफ़िकल्ट होगा, वेरी डिफ़िकल्ट फॉर अ मशीन टू नो हाउ मच वाटर, मिल्क टू बी एडेड एक्सेट्रा. फाइन. सो जैसे कि मतलब आपको पता है कि टी मेकिंग एल्गोरिदम है. सो वी नो कि कितना वाटर चाहिए, कितना मिल्क चाहिए, बट मशीन डोंट नो. फाइन. सो दिस एल्गोरिदम रन ऑन कंप्यूटर. मशीन पे अपना एल्गोरिदम वर्क करेगा और अ कंप्यूटेशनल डिवाइस. सो फॉर एग्जांपल GPS इन आवर स्मार्टफोन्स, गूगल हैंगआउट्स. सो GPS यूजेस फॉर शॉर्टेस्ट पाथ एल्गोरिदम. फाइन. मीन्स मुझे बड़ौदा से अहमदाबाद जाना है. सो आई हैव टू फाइंड शॉर्टेस्ट पाथ. सो फॉर दैट वी कैन यूज़ GPS. और फॉर ऑनलाइन शॉपिंग uses cryptography, which uses RSA algorithm. So that is called algorithm. That means you have to define your problem, and according to your problem you have to write a step by step instruction for it. Fine. Now why we need algorithm? So first of all, basic idea. You have to basic knowledge of your problem. So understand the basic idea of the problem. Find an approach to solve that problem. See, you need approach. So how to solve that problem? Then improve the efficiency of existing techniques. That means algorithm already exists, but you need improve efficiency of that technique. You can apply some other techniques, so time require less or space require less in according to that cases. So understand basic principle of designing an algorithm, then compare the performance of an algorithm with respect to other techniques. Then algorithm is the best method. Why? Because it describe without implementation detail. Then algorithm gives clear description of requirements, goal of the problem to the designer. If you design good, you can produce a good solution. Then you need understand the flow of the problem. Fine. And also measure the behavior of algorithm like performance in all cases, best case, worst case, average case. We can understand in detail after. Fine. Now after understanding the need of algorithm, here is an difference between algorithm and program. So algorithm, we already know about that finite set of instruction, means step by step instruction that specify a sequence of operation to be carried out to solve a specific problem of a class of problem is called an algorithm. So algorithm में क्या होगा, स्टेप बाय स्टेप इंस्ट्रक्शन होगी. You need to solve your problem. For that you create algorithm. Now on the other hand, program doesn't have to satisfy the finiteness condition. Your algorithm is finite set of instruction. उसमें algorithm में क्या होगा कि आपको कहीं ना कहीं उसका end करवाना होगा. But on other hand, program doesn't satisfy that finiteness condition. How? For example, we can think of an operating system that continues in a wait loop until more jobs are entered. Such a program doesn't terminate unless the system crashes. Fine. So given problem to solve means you have to given one problem and there is n number of solution. So the design phase produces an algorithm and the implementation phase then generates a program that expresses the design algorithm. So the concrete expression of an algorithm in a particular programming language is called the program. I mean to say that कि आपका जो algorithm है ना वो design phase को लेगा और प्रोग्राम जो है इम्प्लीमेंटेशन फेज़ को. बिकॉज आपने कुछ डिज़ाइन किया है तो आपको रन करवाने के लिए यू नीड पर्टिकुलर प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेज. फाइन. और अल्गोरिदम इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज में लिखो या सूडो लैंग्वेज में लिखो, इट्स डजंट मैटर. एंड अल्गोरिदम के लिए क्या होगा, हार्डवेयर और ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम की इन शॉर्ट डिपेंडेंसी नहीं होगी. बट इन प्रोग्राम you depend on hardware or some operating system like Linux and Windows 7, 8, whatever. Or in algorithm you first need to analyze that algorithm, but in program you need testing. Fine. That is the difference between them. Now what is characteristics of an algorithm? So first is precision. So each step of algorithm must be precisely defined. That means what? Non-ambiguity. Like each step in an algorithm should be non-ambiguous. That means each instruction should be clear and precise. The instruction in an algorithm should not denote any conflicting meaning. आप जो भी instruction दे रहे हो for your given problem, it should be clear for all. Fine. So this property also indicate the effectiveness of algorithm. Next is input. Means a range of input should be specified. Why? Because normally algorithm is an input driven, and if the range of input is not specified, then algorithm can go an infinite loop or infinite state. Fine. And next is output. An algorithm must generate at least one desirable output. Fine. And for finiteness, the algorithm should be finite. That means after performing required operations, it should terminate. Fine. And there is another property, or you can say characteristics of an algorithm: multiplicity. The same algorithm can be represented in several different ways. That means we can write in simple English the sequence of instructions, or we can write it in the form of pseudocode. Similarly, for solving the same problem, we can write several different algorithms. For example, for searching a number from the given list, we can use sequential search or a binary search method. Here, searching is a task, and use of either a sequential search method or binary search method is an algorithm. Or one more property is that speed. Algorithms are written using some specific ideas, means which is popularly known as logic of algorithm. But such algorithm should be efficient and should produce the output with fast speed. And last is generality. The algorithm should be expressed in a generic form and must be applicable to a set of all possible inputs. That's all about the characteristics of an algorithm. Now, how to analyze the algorithm? So, time complexity and space complexity, that is the main factor. Other factors are also available, like networking, CPU register, that all are depend on your specific problem. But time complexity and space complexity, these are the main factors for your analyzing algorithm. So in time complexity, running time of a program as a function of the size of the input. कहने का मीनिंग क्या है कि आपका इनपुट जो है उसकी साइज़ 100 होगी तो उसका रनिंग टाइम उस अकॉर्डिंग होगा, बट 1000 में होगी, 10,000 में होगी, सो अकॉर्डिंग टू साइज़ आपकी क्या होगी, रनिंग टाइम भी बढ़ेगी. सो रनिंग टाइम for particular problem, for particular algorithm, you need to check time complexity. And another factor is space complexity. So some forms of analysis could be done based on how much space required for algorithm needs for complete your task. मतलब आपका कोई भी टास्क कंप्लीट करना है तो कितनी स्पेस रिक्वायर करते हैं. स्पेस को जनरली बाइट्स में, वर्ड्स में, इसमें काउंट करते हैं. सो आगे के ट्यूटोरियल में हम ये सब डिटेल में देखेंगे. और कहने का मीनिंग ये है कि अदर फैक्टर्स आर ऑल्सो इंक्लूडेड, बट मीन दीज टू फैक्टर्स आर फॉर योर एनालाइजिंग algorithm. फाइन. सो डिपेंडेंसी कहाँ रहेगी कि आपका साइज़ क्या है, साइज़ ऑफ द इनपुट. टाइम, रनिंग टाइम जो होगा अकॉर्डिंग टू साइज़ होगा. फाइन. और दूसरा स्पेस कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी, हाउ मच स्पेस योर एल्गोरिथम कैन टेक. फाइन. So here you can see a difference between priori analysis and posteriori analysis. So a posteriori analysis is dependent on language of compiler and type of hardware, but in priori analysis it is independent of language of compiler and types of hardware. मतलब priori analysis में क्या होगा कि आपकी कोई भी OS इन पे डिपेंडेंसी नहीं होगी. फाइन. बिकॉज वो इम्प्लीमेंटेशन फेज़ में नहीं हो रहा है, डिज़ाइनिंग फ़ेज़ की बात है. और पोस्टररी एनालिसिस मीन्स कि आप कोई पर्टिकुलर सिस्टम पे उसको रन करवा रहे हो तो इट्स डिपेंड ऑन दी कंपाइलर. फाइन. और पोस्टररी अप्रोच को हम एम्फिरिकल अप्रोच भी बोलते हैं, एंड प्रायरी एनालिसिस दैट मीन थियोरेटिकल अप्रोच. फाइन. सो इम्प्लीमेंटेशन होगा तो एग्जैक्टली वो it will give exit answer, but in priori it will give approximate answer. Fine. And time complexity of an algorithm using a posteriori analysis differ from system to system. मीन्स ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम पे डिपेंड होगा, सो अलग ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम होगा तो अलग उसका आंसर होगा. फाइन. टाइम कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी अलग, रनिंग टाइम मतलब डिफरेंट लेगा, बट इन प्रायोरी एनालिसिस सेम फॉर एवरी सिस्टम. फाइन. और in posteriori analysis, if the time taken by algorithm is less, so credit will be goes to compiler and hardware, but in a priori analysis, if the program running faster, credit goes to the programmer. Okay, thank you for watching my video. Bye bye, take care.